I am not sure. Oh, yeah, we're connecting. Okay. I'm going to give everybody a few moments to log in. Welcome to the Creators Today Platinum Training Note today. And just double checking, giving everyone a little minute here to just log in. I'm going to also see if we can see questions or chat on our bar today. So if you hear me, certainly let me know. Either raise your hand or make a comment here. Oh, great. I'm getting some quick feedback. Thank you for that. All right, that always makes me know that we're ready to go. And just wanted to welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm going to go ahead and start to share the screen then that I've got ready for us to go with. Okay, yeah, I can tell that you can see at the moment I've just logged into our support guide. Many of you already have found your way here because that's how you've logged or registered yourselves, hopefully, or someone did it for you for today's webinar. It's Creatives. We didn't even call it Platinum for Creatives anymore because everyone is using the new Platinum screens. So hopefully you've been comfortably using those new screens. Today, and of course the next coming sessions are listed here. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew where we were starting off with today's webinar in case you came in accidentally to a different meeting. I'm going to go in and talk about what we mean by the word creatives and what that really looks like, how to use the creatives module in Workamajig. So I'm going to go ahead into my login. So my login is different than yours. Everyone's on their own server. Some of you might be on, excuse me, on app 16, but regardless, everyone logs in the same way. Once you've put in a bookmark or your favorite way of getting to your URL, put in your user ID and password. I'm going to also have me keep me signed in case I need to close it and reopen the windows. That'll help you out very easily. When you enter your login, you should be able to see the page that you have favoritized as your favorite go-to page. Now, some of you may have gone to other pages, but before I go into all of that, let me just describe what we mean by the word creatives in Workamajig. Because a lot of people would say, well, we're not a creative. I might be a designer, or I could be an editor, or I'm a writer. Why do I have to go to a creatives page? And it's really more just a generic term for the role that you are providing inside of Workamajig to get certain projects done, tasks that are assigned to you. All those things are assigned on the Today Creatives page. Now, if you signed in and you don't see this page, well, it could be that on your My Settings page over here, you may have gone and found some creative ways to make a pretty background for yourself. Also, you might have found a way to default to a different page. If you haven't changed it, it's already defaulted to the Today Creative page, but you may have discovered, oh, I could go to other places, and you might have found that, oh, I do timesheets, so maybe I'll put timesheet as my favorite default page. Well, I'm hoping by the end of our call today that you will have changed your mind and maybe we'll put back the under creatives, the Today for Creatives is your favorite or your default, or maybe many of you might still choose projects as your default. You might not see everything I see under here, but you might see more. So your mileage will vary in some of what you see today. And maybe in that you might see more than what I'm going to be showing, or you might see less. Certainly, if you see that you can't do something that we've talked about that you think you need to do or be able to get to, those would be questions to pose to your person that's in charge or people that are in charge of setting up Workamajig there at your office. We call them your admin for Workamajig. And or if you are that admin, you certainly can send us those questions to us at support@workamajig.com. Actually, any one of you can send those questions to support@Workamajig. But if you are not the admin, you might want to first check with them, and then they together can send maybe with you CC'd on it, those questions to us. That way everyone learns benefits by questions that are answered by maybe your direct Workamajig admin. So anyway, that is found just by clicking on this little navigation up here to get your changes for a default page if you need to. You may also have other settings here. So if you're brand new, certainly how do I add my avatar can be things you could figure out, how to update maybe your email address if you got the permissions to do so. And even under login, I like to be able to change my password, and my administrator has given me permission to do so. Now, just because I clicked on this doesn't mean my password needs to be reset. I go, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'm still using the same password, no harm done. But if you do start to do it, of course, you got that double confirm, and then it's done and it's changed, and you'll know what that new change password is. So just a quick reminder of what this little corner can do for you. If I did add an avatar image, you will see this question mark change up with a picture. And that's just to help make this a more friendly environment for you. You know who you are. You might put some fun picture of your dog or your kid or just what fancies your little imagination up there. Certainly make it work with what you would like it to be. It will only be visible when you're doing meetings with other people and or possibly your conversations that we'll talk about later today. And lastly, if you need some help on what to do in some of this area, maybe you've added an avatar and you want to know how to remove it, there are some helps, certainly right by your little question mark up there or your image. You can see how everyone might need to learn how to do something like oh, I don't even know. It's under the other settings. Oh, my settings, adding your avatar, removing your avatar, how to add certain things. So use some of these walkthroughs for your helps too today. Everything's not up there, but it is a quick help add piece for you to use. I'm not here to go over a lot of this part, but I just wanted to remind you mainly about this default page and why your mileage might vary and why you may get to a different page and you don't even realize why you got there as your first default. Maybe you just accidentally changed it up. So let me review again. What do we mean by creatives? Well, we talked about how many people in the agency that you work for would be considered a creative. Anyone that's doing some work of some sort, gets assignments to take care of things on projects, would want to go to their Today Creatives page to be able to find what work to do. But also if today is more of a project manager, please stay on the call because you will find today's call will be very relevant because you project managers are the ones making those assignments. And Carly, you had your hand raised, and I appreciate that. I'm assuming that means that you might be one of those project managers. So what is all the work you're doing, assigning out that work going to do for you? And if you're working with the best practices that we're going to cover today, then those assignments will come over to those people's Today Creatives page. And they can, for today, find out what's due today, what's due tomorrow, what's due in the future. And we're going to go over all of how this page can really benefit your creatives. And they don't have to go searching for what to do and what files to grab and go email this person and go talk to this person. They don't have to run around too many places. Even virtually, we might be having to scatter into different places on our computer to find emails and different things, unless we have a real good process set up, which is what Workamajig can provide you. So project managers, welcome, as well as those of you that might call yourself the creative bunch, and we know those creative brains are definitely interesting and needed people, part of our team. They just don't have to do all the planning necessarily, but they need to provide the work. So we're going to go over how you can best use this today. So this main page, we will go into other areas, but I'm purposely going to stand here for quite a while to go over the benefits of what we see just on this page alone. I will answer questions along the way. So at the, on occasion, I will check for the chat. And if you have a major question that you don't think I will cover or have maybe need to give you better explanation, certainly feel free to use the chat box. And I will kind of keep an eye on it once in a while, but I won't want to interrupt our call too often, our webinar, until I'm ready to make a good break into another phase of what we need to talk about. So feel free to use that chat feature if you need that. Some of you might be using Q&A, so I do see that as well. Oh, things from December are showing up. So good question about maybe other things from the past are going to be showing up here. So how do we handle that? Those are exactly the directions we're going to be headed today. So first of all, are you on today's date? If you've left this page open, like yesterday, you were called away at the last minute. Maybe you're still working remotely at home and you've got your kid crying in the background. You got to go jump and you had to leave your pages open. That happens. Just realize this page, it will update a lot of things, but what it won't do, it won't change the date here unless you come back in and refresh it. So if you see that you're sitting on Monday, it was because you left it open last night, just do a refresh of the browser. With Platinum, the nice thing is it doesn't log you out immediately. And so you may be able to safely refresh it. If it logs you out, there's something hinky going on and you can log back in very nicely. Oh, and by the way, logging in, there is under this more the log out feature. We do use that for the purposes of really getting a full refresh. At the end of the day, it's always good to log out. Cat walks across your keyboard, who knows what might go on. Always nice to fully log out. And if you've got that remember me checked, it's really easy to log back in every morning. So that's always a good behavior. It does give your system a nice little kick in, like, oh, go look at any of those really system updates that somebody else might be doing for you. If in doubt, just hit your browser refresh. Yeah, but so why does Olivia, I can't tell if I'm saying your name wrong, probably, I apologize, but why would you see tasks that may be really late and they might be even showing red? Mine are all showing green, only because I got ready for today's call and I kind of freshened up my screens, but I hadn't touched this since my last webinar, which was in December, and boy, did things look ugly, and I had a lot of old tasks, and it was because they're tasks that were not completed. And so, Olivia, we will talk about that and how we can update and see what's most current, what's most important. Let's first address kind of the basic of the layout. I talked about this navigation, but down under there, under your name, you will see an enter your time for today option. You also see a schedule and a calendar link. Before I click there, notice I also may show a meeting if one is set up for today. I don't have to go out to my calendar. Some of you might be using Workamajig Calendar. Some of you might be doing Outlook. Some of you might do Google. Some of you are syncing from one calendar to another. So wherever you go to find your appointments are important. But if you're using Workamajig's calendar, at least by a sync method, you might see today's meetings sitting up here in your Today page. So a very helpful, quick shortcut. This one's already happened. It's past or already done. I've been there, gone there, done, and come back. So I can click on here. And because I'm using some of the best settings, I can actually set and just save or update the time I spent in that meeting. Maybe I was actually there for an hour and a half. I could change this, but if I was really there for the hour, I can say, I'm done. If you're required to make comments, you can even say that you're done with this task. I'm not going to actually mark done, but I am going to mark save. You notice that I've also told my meeting organizer that I was going to attend, and darn it, I didn't make any fun for us. But you know, these question marks, those are those avatar images that might show up in a meeting note, just FYI. So anyway, save. Now, because it's already attached to a project, it's attached to a task, and I was given a service, I'm actually adding my first time entry just by going to this meeting. And there's my time entered right here. And you'll see right above it, my timesheet's already been updated. I am not going to touch timesheets until the end of our hour today. Not that end of hour, but towards the end of the hour, because I want to point out very specifically, using our best practices, you won't need to do manual entry of timesheets. How many hands will I see go up for how many of you just go and enter a timesheet? It's okay if you do, but how many of you work that way a lot just by entering timesheets? That is certainly what a lot of our people do, but today I'm going to show you without having to just go manually remember what did I work on, how many hours, how many minutes was this and that. I can actually enter time without ever touching my timesheet. This is one way to get it open. I will click there just to prove my point. My timesheet's already started for today, April 6th. There's other places to find timesheet, and let's navigate over there. So if I'm going to navigate to my timesheet, you probably have gone over to your menu button over on Workamajig. Now I have gotten my buttons customized for me, my bubbles. You may see a bunch more, you may see fewer. Your mileage, again, will vary depending on what your account managers have done for you. But everyone has an everyone bubble, and everyone would see timesheets. So you certainly could find your timesheet there. But again, I'm really going to stay away from this till the end of the hour about what we would do with that timesheet if we manually enter it or we're doing it along the day as we are working. How do we take care of that timesheet at the end of the day? Here under everyone bubble is our calendar. I could have found my today's meeting either by a week view, a day view. I see it here, and certainly you know how calendars work. But do you know that within Workamajig, I can see other people's calendars? Do I need to? Not necessarily, and I can unclick if I don't need to see somebody. Maybe I need to know, by the way, I'm Leslie. I didn't even introduce myself, but I am that creative role right now. But maybe this Leslie has got an important meeting and I need to see what she's busy doing. So I can go and grab other people's calendars if they've given me permissions. Private meetings are always private, so know that you can always keep private meetings marked as private. And then what public company meetings do I need to see? And those are really more important for like those holidays coming up. And so you might see, and I don't think I have my holidays updated, shame on me, but the holidays or public companies, vacations will be a good way to communicate with your team who's out of office. Okay, so that's our calendar view. And again, I got there from the Everyone Bubble calendar. And maybe some of you were doing expense reports. We're not going to really review those today, but I can find those here, and I can find my report or report center here. And maybe I've been given notes that I can keep looking at. What's important for the office, what's some personal notes. Those are just choices your team will make. Whether you see that or not is up to your team. And my report center, what reports I might need to see, I certainly can run and find right in my report center. And your mileage may vary. You may see tons of different reports in here. It's just depending on what your role is in Workamajig and what you need or don't need to see has been customized for your benefit. Now, if you're back on the bubbles and you go, I'm kind of not sure where to go, or maybe you got here by mistake, you can hit the done button and you will be back where you last were. Okay, go back to our menu and say, oh, but I'm still confused, not sure where to go. I can show all apps, especially when I have a customized menu, I might need the show all apps. And if I hit show all apps again, maybe more will show up. Okay, so if you're not sure you're seeing everything, hit the show all apps. Now I am seeing everything, but it also did a reset of just going back to the main bubbles. And then I can go find my creatives bubble and go, oh yeah, there's my today page. Okay. Also, you saw in that, and actually I'm going to do a shortcut. You have different ways to do this, but I'm just going to duplicate my tab, make it easy. Because I forget my shortcuts. I have two different keyboards, two different computers, and one shortcut's different on another computer. So I just duplicate this for purpose, because my creatives may also need to be keeping an eye on their projects. So we have that bubble, and I want to keep my today page open, and I want to also go to my projects bubble or page, and now I have both pages quickly, easily accessible. Now I am going to talk more about that projects page, but I wanted to hide it for a minute just so you don't get carried away into all the good stuff over there as well. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to keep up with the answers and Q&A, so hang on with me there. All right, so let's get back into how come for Olivia or somebody there needed to see and what to do with tasks that are showing up that were due in December. Well, one, you can go and find out what is really intended, but it may be you're just needing to mark some tasks as completed. So the rest of our day is to talk about, well, let's get started, ready to roll and ready to use the rest of this system. Because once you've logged in, the main thing is, what do you need to take care of today? And you're probably asking questions like, what work do I need to do today? When is this task due? How much do I have to do in one day? And how should I prioritize my day? What about those past due tasks? How much time do I have to work on all of this? And luckily, not everything's due today on my board, but many of you may have 20 things sitting that are due today. And how do you organize that? Who else might be working on these projects? And there's a lot you can find here just on this page alone. There are two views here. You've got what we call the 4-square or task card view, and we can also see it in a grid view. Some of you may have a third view, but please, that is another whole method of organizing, and I'm not going to show it today or talk about today. Unless you have questions around it, we can show you what you can find out about that third option. But today, if I'm hitting on this view, I'm looking at it in a grid or more of a report format, and you can see some details there that were a little less, maybe less evident on the task cards, and I can roll these open and see certain things. Now I should have left something running late because I look very artificially in top of my game today. Everything's got a green status, but many of you might have red status or yellow or an orange, yellow or orange, whatever it looks like on your view. Yellow would be kind of like it's warning you that you're coming due on the task or be late on that task. So status in this view is very easy to see. In the task view, you'll notice it's on the card, the edge of the card, and it'll turn yellow before it turns red, hopefully. And maybe it might go immediately to red, and those are some certain circumstances. And it's really so that you can be organizing your day. Also, how come I see tasks that are past due on here? So under your ... more, you definitely have a display option. Because display options will control what you are seeing. And I might right now have mine defaulted to everything, but I really recommend that when you walk in the door, maybe you want to look at what's just due on or before today, and that poor individual who's got December sitting there will still see December because it was something due on or before today. I can group it by whatever way I want to see it. So I'm grouping it by due date, but maybe I want to group it by client, or maybe I want to group it by project type, task type, or whatever. Some things may not work for you depending on what settings your group is using, but project status, project type, those are good ones. Due date is a very good one. Or maybe I want to know, because mine are all long term, maybe I need to see when should I start a task, because everything's due at the end of the year. Well, that doesn't help me. Maybe I need to organize it by when I should start something, because some things require more time than others. I'm going to leave mine as due date at the moment, but I did change the date range, and I've also got checked here completed predecessors only, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So let me just change it by the date range and hit save. And it's only changing my board, by the way, nobody else's. And you see immediately, I just have today to worry about. So maybe I'll go run, get that coffee or make that phone call, and then I can get to work because I see that one, I'm almost done with it. And I can see a lot of things. If I toggle this little caret down, I can see some things that's in 0 days, meaning it's due today. It's a medium task level. It might have been updated to priority. You can sort by priority. You can see how many hours you're allocated. Now I have 15 hours out of 15. I guess I haven't put any time on this task, but I am ready to work on this task, which was creative planning for research. And I do see a new update. So some interesting things. I can click on one of either of these areas. If I click on the new update, it will kind of open up this screen. What is the new update? I couldn't tell. I have to find it. There it is. It's my conversation. And if you're using conversations, you're already familiar with this tool, but it is your diary note or your conversation that your team is holding. Maybe somebody sent this to you. You may have seen it in an email. So by the way, if you've been in Workamajig a long time in Classic and you logged into Platinum, everything old will have looked like it's recently updated. Old, like those December projects, whatever. If you haven't seen it in Platinum, it will be a new alert. So if you come in and you've got tons of new alerts that you go, I've seen that, I've seen that, I've seen that. Instead of ignoring them all, you can go back up to your My Settings page and go to the ... more, and one time mark everything as red. It does take a bit to grind through it. It will grind through all those older, everything in there as of up to today will be marked as red. So any then new conversations, new files, new updates will be marked appropriately as a new update for you. So make use of that if you are users that have been in a while that are like tired of seeing, oh, I have read all that. Let me update it today. And or else just clicking into it will clear this new unread message here. And certainly I can click and open it and I can reply back and I can take care of all my stuff here. Is my update, whatever you got to tell them. And again, this may have come to you by email and you could have replied by email, but it doesn't guarantee it comes into Workamajig. If you're not seeing those replies come back into Workamajig, let your admin know or let us know at support@Workamajig, because we want those updates or those replies, especially if they're important like mine is. You want it to be updating the message. Certainly posting it directly like I am will update it in Workamajig. It will email back to whoever started the conversation and whoever was CC'd on that email. Okay. Post a reply. Basically, today you see my alert went away, but here's my reply. And now when Leslie logs in, she will see that as her update to her first out question. Certainly you can start a conversation if you've got the rights to be able to start a new conversation. That would be found here. And who do you need to email it to? And you might need to add additional people that's on your team. If you don't see project team, go check in the drop down to get who you need to add to this email. Okay, and then by hitting and saving your subject, your message, if you've done it in this task, you see it's already referencing this task. Okay, and that's a good way to filter for things. And so I won't post that, but you can see that not one, you can read replies, you can give replies, you can add new conversations, all from the fact that I clicked into today's task card. I clicked on the new update. By the way, this will refresh. It just hasn't yet. The timing during trainings, webinars is a little slower than you will be actively using it. So if you're ready, go ahead and refresh a page. If you need to say something, definitely save something before you refresh. But you see my update went away because my latest update is not new to me, but it would be new to other people I commented to. Clicking in here though, certainly the white space brings open this box again. Whatever I was on last is still defaulted. I can see those new replies again here, and I'll see other things that I need to access. in this project. Any questions at this point? How are we doing? I see a new one in the Q&A. And how do you adjust the priority? That is probably more of a project manager's job than the creative. I'll see if I can access it as a creative. I've purposely given myself limited access to some of those settings. So if you need follow-up on that, if I can't show it to you directly, certainly we can follow up with you with our email support at workamajig.com. But we will look at that when I get back into this area, which I'll do today. So here's my description as a creative. Again, I'm looking at this task. If I don't have a description, it might not be anything there at all. I might be using deliverables. I may be given a to-do list, and certainly we talked about conversations. What else is here? Certainly these project details. So project overview, again, limited view for my creative, but they may have some things or custom fields that are very fancy, and maybe you're using them, maybe you're not. If you don't use custom fields, they won't be there. I do have access to a schedule. I thought I took that away. So this would be a way potentially that priority could be updated. So in the actual task itself, Mr. Project Manager or Miss, I don't know if I have the rights, but it would be in your schedule that you would see it probably under another type of tab. I'll have you kick around in there, and if you can't see it, let me know and send that question to us at support. We'll definitely get you a picture and visual a description of what we're talking about there, because maybe I do want my creators to prioritize their day by sorting out their thing by priority. I am going to talk some more, so let me do one thing. Let me talk about this time entry, because what I want to do on this task is maybe start a timer. I could enter a manual time entry, but I'm going to go ahead and let the timer run for me. Now, some of you, if you look at your today page, may see a lot of these timers on your today page on the right. We don't want you to forget you've opened one. As you see, it's pointing to this research task. It's pointing to this project, and even the things I can even access my details right from here if I want to. Timers are great. Timer is running for me in the background. When I'm ready to put my time in, I'm going to be able to stop this timer and save it and make it go away, but also add my timesheet. So I'm going to let it run while I talk a little more about this card, because right here on today, I'm just working about what's due today, because the rest will have to wait. And I saw the 70%. I can update to my project manager that I'm actually 80% done or 90%. If I hit 100%, that's going to close the task. So I won't do that, but I will update it. I think they might be looking and wondering if I'm almost done. I can certainly let them know by that if you've got permissions to use that. Yours may just be an automatic close, so be watchful of what it will do for you. But anyway, and as I open up the task for more details, I'm going to find other things. Here's that percentage close here as well. So if I click on that, I can update it or back it down if I had to. And if I have spec sheets, what are they? What do they contain? This is one way to view them. I certainly can click and open it. And maybe part of my job is just to read through the description on this spec sheet. Maybe I have to update it. That's all up to what your job description is for this spec sheet. Do I need to print it off? I certainly can. It goes to a PDF and you print it out. If you need that hard copy, or you save it to your desktop so you can download it, and then send it off to someone else that might need to read just the PDF version of this spec sheet. Oh, all right. I got a long chat going, and I got some detail about a project manager strongly get revisions. So what I'm going to suggest, Lauren, I won't read all this right now, but maybe send that to your support at Workamajig email, copy it out while you've got it fresh, and send it to us, and you can even say, please send to Leslie for some follow-up, and they'll be happy to do that, because the support at workamajig.com goes to your account manager. Your account manager may have the answers for you, but if you really want specifically someone else to get to it, you can say that in your message, and then we'll know why you had this question. It came from the webinar. They may not know I'm on a webinar today, and they'll send it to me happily. Anyway, I'll try to get to all your questions, certainly. So spec sheets, so I can get to or update those spec sheets. If there were changes, we will see that noted. No deliverables, and there's my spec sheet. So you know what I'm going to do at this point? I'm actually going to just go ahead and finish out my timer. I can pause it, by the way, and come back to it because I had to get called away to lunch or something important that's related. So pause your timer when you need to. Get it started when you're back working. And when you really are done, there's this little box. I'm going to click stop. And it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to stop this timer? And I'm going to certainly say yes, because I did mean to do that. Now, this is how the time entry looks, and it already pre-filled my time in to the minute, or it might have updated it to every next 15-minute increments or down, depending on your settings. And some people really have to watch that because they're using some government client that needs specific, so your mileage varies. Again, it will be whatever. Mine, I think, is updating, rounding it out to the next quarter minute. It pre-filled the date. It pre-filled the project. It already gave me the task I was doing, and it also pre-filled the assignment, the service I was given. I do not need to change anything here. I could round out my time, especially if you forgot to turn off that timer. I've seen timers running for over a year, believe me, and I don't know why. They've forgotten all about it. It's just part of the background. So obviously you may have to fix it, and you may even have to adjust the date if you forgot to turn it off and you still want to save that time. But anyway, all you have to really do is hit save. Now, if you are truly done, mark I'm done, but I'm not going to do that. Real quickly, I'm going to hit save just to show you, here's my additional time. I can always go back and finish it out. I'm going to do a manual time entry. The difference is I'm not starting a timer, and I'm going to put in those 2 hours that I forgot that I did earlier today, and I am done, done, done. And instead of my update in the percent, I'm just going to hit I'm done. Now notice when I'm done, what happens to the task card. So I'm going to hit save, and that does ask you if you're done before it does that usually, and it does want to make sure that you're done because it does disappear. Now, if the nice thing is, if you're showing your time entry here and you messed up, you can kind of go back in and open something up and update it or change something if you need to. But the idea of I'm done with it is it does update your task card, your task page. I am staying on today's creative on purpose. You go, well, you don't have work to do. You can go home. No, remember my display options. I just wanted to know what was due on or before today because I get overwhelmed easily. If I see too much, I might get a little crazy in the head. I might want to go home. I don't know how to prioritize. So this helps me prioritize whatever reasons. I can group it by due date or whatever, certainly. And yet I want to now change this. Maybe what's due on or before a week from today, 2 weeks from today. Maybe what should I start on today? Whatever your preferences, or maybe I want to see everything. But I may not see everything if I keep my completed predecessors only checked. So let's leave it checked. Let's hit save. And here's the rest of my day, Wednesday, Friday in December. Looks not, what's going to happen between April and December? Well, I'll show you that. And that would be under display options. I'm going to now uncheck completed predecessors, hit the save, and you'll see a lot of stuff filtering in throughout the next few weeks. And I'm still missing a big chunk because this is all test data. I know you all will be overwhelmed with a bunch. And look at here, good. I've got a thing that's running late, but it wasn't showing up before. I should be working on these today. Why can't I work on them? Well, look, I've got little flags saying a predecessor is not complete. My project managers may know what that means, but my creatives, they go, okay, what does that mean? It means that there's a task, maybe several tasks that need to be completed before you can do something. You can't do revisions if the actual deliverable is not created yet. Would that make sense, right? I can't do a review. Here's another review, waiting on some things. So the idea is we're not ready to start it, so we can let it disappear. Get it out of your way. And that's why we really want you to understand why this completed processor could be very helpful. If you check and somebody wants you to start on it regardless, that would be a conversation you can hold, and then you can go and start on it. There's no preventing you to starting on it unless you have rules in your system that doesn't let you start it. So I'm going to hide mine, keep it simple today, and let's go on to other tasks at hand. But I'm going to see there's some questions popping up. I'm somewhat of a project manager. Thank you, Rhonda. And do creatives use the percentage done tool, or is that the job of the project manager? Any drawbacks with using that tool? So some people don't allow it because it could be a confusion and they just want you to click the done button. Is there a drawback? Well, actually, there's a benefit to it, especially if you're not doing timely entry of timesheets. What's the benefit? I'm not sure if I can see it. Let me go into this task. I see it's 80%. I'm going to go into the project view, and it's creative concepting, because in this view, creative brief is, oh, okay, and I see, so I'll see certain things, and I'll see progress bar, and the progress bar up here at 68% is for everything. And look at creative brief. If I clicked on that, I can see some things, and maybe you won't see everything here depending on your availability, but that percent done, and I can't see it in my view here because I'm a creative, but as a project manager, I could see that Leslie might have started this project 310 days ago. This one was updated definitely back in the history marks, but you know, there was a progress of 85% of some sort without necessarily any time. But look at your project managers will also see entered time on things. So time doesn't necessarily tell you the progress you're making. So that's, I think, the benefit of a percent done. It's very general though. What do we mean by I'm 20% done, I'm 80% done? That's really just your own thinking of how far along you are to getting close to the goalpost of getting done. And again, you don't need to use it. Some prefer not to use it. And look at all these updates. And again, I should probably go in and mark everything as red for my benefit too. So that's just how that works with the percents. Let me go into another question or two. Oh, and that's it on the Q&A, and that's good. I'd like to keep moving forward and maybe catch the rest here at the end. So let's move on to other things that I haven't shown you, and I had some specific things in mind. On your task cards, we've talked about the conversations and how to send one out, but in that spec sheet, do you have that as part of your job description? And by the way, there's other ways to search in here and filter. I'm actually going to look for this project down here, but if I couldn't find it, or I just know that I needed to find something for a company, I can start to use the name of the client or the project number that I'm looking for in case I just can't see what I'm looking for. As long as it's one of your tasks, you will find stuff on your board. But I wanted to go to this particular one for a purpose to go into, or number, maybe it's 05 I really wanted to go into, because in here, when I look here, I see there's how many days remaining, or hours remaining, and days remaining. Some of you may not have both of these figures. Some of you may have none of your figures. It may be 0, 0. It all depends on your project manager's use of the system. Are they giving you how many days to complete it? That helps give you the due dates. And are they giving you hours of how much time you might need to work on this task? And that helps you organize. I have a task that's for 2 hours here. I have another task that might need only 1 hour. And I have this third task. Oh, no, like this one, it shows how many days remaining are almost used and my hours are almost used up because I've entered some time on this. So you can kind of see a little bench post of what you've already used. And you could have seen that with the caret drop down. You can see those updates here. And I didn't do my to-dos today. I'm sorry about that, but our conversations. I do have back on task 05 some other things to see. One, which is, was it files? I'm sorry. Yep, I've done a deliverable here. The reason it's not here is that I'm not there to approve it, but I may be charged with looking over this deliverable. And I didn't check my settings, and so I can't get to open it. I apologize. Let me go into project overview. I'm a bad girl. My setup is not perfect because I was trying to set it up and then I didn't double check that Creative Leslie could access her deliverables. If she's got to look at it, review it, she'll need access to it, but it wasn't given to her. There's one other way she might be able to find it, and that's under views. And can she go look for it here? And it was for project 05. There are other ways to skin a cat, and sometimes we just go into it from a viewpoint and we'd see the project, and I might have to search a little harder for this one. And I'm not going to go too far. I'm just going to go and grab one of these and see if I find something. Because what I wanted to show you is that if you've got access to a deliverable, you're going to be able to find it. A comp. One more search. Okay, and these hadn't even been submitted. I'm not seeing the one I wanted to show you. It was so perfect, you guys would have been blown away. If you haven't done deliverables, it is a tool that we offer, and it's not working today because I did poor setup as a project manager, and my poor team member can't get into it. So I'm not going to go into how to set it up today because that would take away from our creative view. But if you give your creative something to review or to comment on, even, they can use that in the deliverable. If they need to review the changes on that deliverable, then they should have the rights to see it, and then they could take care of this task card and do what they need to work on and access even the files that might be on that deliverable. Let's see if we can see that. Look at that. And it's not even the deliverable I thought I had set up. But so, yes, it is. It was this actual file, but this is just a file. It's not going to show any of the markups. That was part of that deliverable, which would have been important for my creative to see because they need to fix this, update it. It was a program that they want to repurpose into a newer, more fresh, not Christmas kind of program, but maybe with that same format. So that would have been the plan there, but I messed that up and I apologize. But you get the idea. And the idea is I've worked on it, my new time entry. I'm going to give myself credit for doing it. I'm even going to say I'm done and hit the save. All right. Good. I have to-dos. Do you want to mark it done? Maybe I need to go back and check over those to-dos, because to-dos are something that you may have been assigned to do or maybe open-ended for somebody to do it. But if we have a to-do, the idea is that we need to be notified of what needs to work on, and I need to mark it as completed before we're done with things. And so from here, I can even mark that to-do as completed. And so before it lets me just mark that task is done, I've got to at least address that question. Okay, and many of you use to-dos, many of you may not be using them. But let's go ahead and mark it done, and let's go and finish out that time entry. So you saw I could back out. Oh, I didn't even know I had a to-do. Yep, I'm done. I'm going to put my hour, I'm done. I'm going to save it. And if I get that notice, do you want to continue? Yes, I can still close it. And maybe someone else is working that task to do that to-do. You're done. You've marked it off and you see it's cleared out your board. Another way to organize, you can certainly put things in as favorites. So I'm going to mark these two as some favorites, leave the rest. And if I only want to see my favorite task, I can click on the star. And look at, I had one other one marked as a favorite. And that's an admin project. How many of you need to mark in time for your whole day? I had a meeting. I already did the meeting task, but maybe I needed to do something else. Was it new business development? What other task might be an admin project? Maybe I'm going out on some hours today and I have to put in some PTO, and it was just for an hour out early. And this was, I had a meeting or I had a doctor appointment. Whatever you guys need to do, an admin project would help you do that. It's not a task that's due necessarily, but just something I got to track. Any questions? How's our time doing? I can't see my own timer today. Oh, about 10 minutes in. The only thing I didn't show in there is maybe how to access files. So let me go back to seeing all, and to see all my items, I can uncheck the star, but I think I do have files. I did show you that and how to access it. So we're good on that. I'm just trying to make sure I haven't missed any details. All on Creative's page. I really want to stress that. One more thing, the bell up here, it's notifications. Your mileage again will vary. What do you have to know about? Why did those timesheets get rejected? Maybe I made mistakes. Otherwise, I might see that I have unsubmitted time to take care of. You may see 10 or 20, maybe 50 unsubmitted timesheets. That's a good discussion to hold with your team. What do you guys want to do with those? Messages. If you're showing messages, did you miss something? You can read what that message was about. There's the item I wanted to kind of show on a file, and now I've got that to remember where I put it, and I can read it, I can reply, and be done with it, or it disappears once I've read it, or I can clear all of it. If I've cleared or I don't see anything at all and you're wondering what happened to that email, certainly can click in here and go search for something that was sent just today or on or before today. Oh, that would be a mess, right? Or just this week. And, search for whatever. Mine's mostly just today stuff, but there's everything I might have seen in my emails. And I'd rather work in Workamajig than dealing with all my emails. Now, if I need to submit time, I could do it from here. I've done all my time. I can go to submit time, and this really is all it is. I could go and grab all those that I haven't submitted and submit them all together. I'm not going to do that, but I want you to see. You could certainly, and I'm going to go ahead and submit my December one, because somebody's been clamoring me, telling me, where's that timesheet there? I guess just send it for them to review. Well, I'm still working on my timesheet for today, and certainly maybe even want to look at yesterday's. So I'm going to come back to that. So you may not like all the time showing up here. You can have that choice removed. That's a decision, because your meetings do get a little lost in the middle of the day. So just know that the green is your time entries, the blue are your meetings. You can go and update a time entry if you made an error for today. But otherwise, before I hit my timesheet, notice your shortcuts. If you have to do something new, there could be a new item you need to start from here. If you start a timer, you're going from outside the system, and it has no project, no task, nothing at all. And you stop it and you go, okay, I'm ready to stop it, but what am I putting time against? So I find that one's really good for your administrators that may not have a task and they just want to grab admin time. That works. Anyway, that's the new button. Just wanted to point that out. What if you have a task that you can't finish and it's due today? I'm going to not complete this. I'm going to say, I got that doctor appointment to run off and do. I need to hand this off. This, again, may not be available, but it is a feature that I need to explain. If you've got the rights for this, what are you doing? You're saying, I'm giving away the rest of this task. Either I can't do anymore because it's now next to somebody else has to look at it before I go further, or I can't finish it. You're giving it away basically when you hand off a task. You could use the time entry here, by the way. Handoff task, though, would say, I'm going to be giving away this task and I'm reassigning it maybe back to the project manager. And I can say, okay, check it over. I've done as much as I can do. And if they want to mark it done, then they can mark it done. Your decisions are up to you guys as a project management team. You can send that person an email. had to go to the doctor and yet it's due today, maybe you want to let them know. Certainly make that a decision. Don't just surprise them because they may be waiting still for you. So that's up to your decisions. But saving it, look what it'll do, and it should take that task away because I gave it up. I don't know, I haven't tested that in a while. So, but it certainly gives that task to Leslie. Yep, it did. I just had to refresh my page. Gave it away. I didn't finish it. It goes to my project manager or to someone else to finish up. I'm going to look at questions before we get too far to our hour, but just know that handoff may not be something your team is used to or wanting, or maybe they don't understand it. So do know how that can be used in benefit you, but make sure it's understood and decided on. Search, global search. Certainly you can find what you are able to find, either active projects or other things here. Your recents helps you go back to some areas you've been already before, just as a shortcut. Kind of hard to know if it's really what you want until you're used to where you want to go. As you see, I could go back to a project I was up into earlier. So recents is a nice shortcut. Global has 3 areas: global search, the recents, and a report views area like the timesheet view, the projects view, the deliverables view we looked at earlier. Those are those quick report views that you may need to run and find something. Oh, I never even got over to projects. Let me go peek at that. And notice that your view again will depend on how you have this set, established. I have been enabled to get 2 different views. I have a creative view my project managers gave us on purpose because they like next steps and they can give me some indication maybe of a quick update that I need to know about. Time frame change, check for updates, finish as soon as possible. Those are notes that are at the project level that maybe would help me go back to my creative page and prioritize. Or you may have a different view that you prefer and they're just different, and depending on what you need. Let's go back into the view I had. Notice that the percent complete is a project percent complete. This one's running late. This one's running close to deadline. These are in good progress bar. Okay, and just what do you need to see and who's the project manager, etc., plus a shortcut back to a project. Okay, so that's why you might want both tabs open to be able to kind of toggle back and forth. And lastly, besides questions, I'm sorry, that is probably as much as I can go through. Other than you certainly have in your view, show Gantt chart if you like it and all that good stuff. So play with your displays. If you have the access to it, that means you got it. Oh, the one important display option under ... more is what am I seeing? Let me hide this Gantt chart. Am I seeing everything? Am I not seeing everything? Because when I came in first, I had this something checked with projects with open assignments only and maybe nothing else checked. Or I may have to uncheck some of this to see more. And if I uncheck it all, you'll see a big difference. You'll see everything that might be open potentially. But do you need to worry about all that? That's how you can control what you want to see. Just my open assignments. That's all I care about. Then that's all you need to see. Group it by client, group it by status, project type, all different ways. Display option is just changing your dashboard, nobody else's. And you can even sort it by different status codes. Hopefully you don't have to do much because you don't really want to see completed on this page. You shouldn't need to see a completed project. If you want to see completed projects, go back up to your global search, go to views, go to projects, and go find inactive projects. Why do I say that? It's this project page by default is really the priority, what's being worked, what's important to get done. Inactives are done, they're completed, they're inactive for a reason. But you certainly can global search for something or just hit search. I don't have as many as some of you. So there's a long list here, and do I need to see something? I certainly can go back to something that was closed as long as, or maybe not even open yet. But you probably don't need that view. You really just need what's open and what's being worked. Those are the things we're really worried about. All right, let's go look at questions. And if I know we're getting to the top of the hour, if I've answered all your questions, you'll be certainly welcome to drop off, but I will want to address the questions here that want to stay on. And I'm going to just read through some of these and answer what I need to that may apply to all. And then Lauren, if you want to hang on, I can look at yours a little deeper. Carrie, so we answered that, the percentage thing. And what is the purpose of the star? And Rhonda, that was just to prioritize and make a favorite. And you can do that even of your projects. So tasks can become favorites. Your projects can become favorites. And easily just a star makes it a favorite. Why do we need favorites? If we use them, then you can go find those favorites. They're right here. Good question. And that really applies to everybody. And I'm glad you asked that one. But it's different. It just means I'm going to maybe have to look at things a little differently when I go there. But it still stays on your other list. It's just that it pulled it off into a favorite list. Any other quick questions I can answer for the rest? Lauren, if you want to hang on, I certainly will read through your question. Pretty sure we don't use deliverables. Andra, that was a comment that is a definite option for you. And if you are doing, like we say, previewing or reviewing of things that you are creating for your people, for your clients, then a deliverable module is certainly one that would be usable within Workamajig. Very, very user friendly. We do have, for those who are curious about it, let me find the upcomings. Well, don't see deliverables here, but we will see in those past webinars a very good 2 or 3 webinars that were covering deliverables. Other things you may have missed, even FAQ or hints for Platinum. The transition, all those are good beginners, but then there's deliverables in here, Platinum tips and tricks. So that would be a way to kind of see if that's important for you to use. It may be something like, man, we've had to go to this other tool just to do this. And the good news about it being in Workamajig is that those changes show up. If one programs it properly, those changes will show up for your creatives to take care of. And I do apologize for my snag there. And that's the purpose there. So I'm going to read through Lauren's question and then hopefully answer that real quickly. Lauren, it's okay to read it out loud, I assume. Your project manager, she's struggling with, let me get to the new message here. Yes, okay, thank you. Struggling with getting revisions to flow. Oh, talking about deliverables, we have a sense of tasks like design, internal review, design revisions. When the deliverable is rejected in internal review, I assign the follow-up task as design. I was going to try to show you this today, and I messed that up. I assign the follow-up task as design revisions. Is there a way to automate that in the task card so that the design task goes away and they know it's ready for revisions? Or do they need to click through via the email notification? No, the email notification is just a backup. The notification should, if they are assigned to the task, then their task should be able to reflect it here. And maybe it's even labeled deliverable or review or some sort of task description that they could search for those. They could have been alerted through a conversation. That would also do something. An email notification is only one tool of many, and we don't get away from email unless we want to, but it's a backup. The task itself, if you've assigned them to the task, should give it to them, and the due date it's due by should help them find it by priority. The updates would have shown, hey, maybe it's a conversation update, maybe it's a spec, maybe it's a deliverable that was given to them to review. Now they have to go in and look at it so they can take care of the changes reflected here. So I hope that helps you out. Certainly your account manager, if you send us another email to say, I could use a little more conversation around deliverables or reviews so that we can make it more efficient, that would be an excellent review call. Also, if you're still on the call, anyone, the website itself, the support page, if you haven't already discovered it, mine are hiding. There could be a little chat feature down at the bottom of the page. If you see the chat bubble pop up, it will mean that somebody's lively watching that board and will help you update a question immediately or soon after. If you've gone into the help guide and you see this, can I help you little chat box and nobody replies, it's because it's after hours and maybe we've gone home and we might not see it till Monday. And then by then we have to figure out how to get an answer to you. So provide your email in the chat feature and then we can reply to you directly there as well. And otherwise, remember our email at support@workamajig.com. We certainly want to provide you more one-on-one and team calls as much as you guys need in order to really use the tool as efficiently as possible. Are there any other questions today? If I've missed something, which is very possible, please send that to me at support@workamajig and we will get those questions answered to you. And I do appreciate your time today. I'm going to stop the share and say goodbye and have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you very much.